So now we're going to talk about the percent of change. And percent of change is actually quite a simple concept, and there's one really easy formula in order to do it. Whether we are talking about an increase or a decrease, it's the amount of change over the original amount. So let's try that. So let's say we started with the number 4 and we changed it to 7.5. And I want to know what percent increase that was. So I would find the amount of change, which in this case is amount of increase. So I'd say 7.5 minus 4, because what I'm finding is the difference. That is 3.5. So that's my amount of change, in this case amount of increase. So I put amount of increase over the original, which the original was 4. So 3.5 over 4. Now I convert that to a decimal and I get 0.875. I move the decimal place twice and I have 87.5% increase. So my final answer for changing from 4 to 7.5 is 87.5%. So now we're going to do another one, and I want you to pause as we go along and make sure that you're doing it as well. Let's say I went from 48 to 60. Now, first think about, what did I say the formula was? You should have said that's the amount of change over the original. Alright, so the amount of change, in order to find the amount of change, that's our difference. So the difference between the two, I would say 60 minus 48, which is 12. So my amount of change is 12. Now, which number was my original, 48 or 60? You should have said 48. Now I have the fraction 12 over 48, which can simplify to what? Now for all my decimal lovers, I want this answer as a decimal. 12/48 simplifies to 0.25, which is also 25%. So if you were asked, what is the percent of increase from 48 to 60, you could say that it increased by 25%. Now let's do a decrease. And let's say I started with the number 1500 and I was changing it to 1416. You like my random numbers, right? Okay, still the same formula where I say the amount of change over the amount original. Okay, so the amount of change, I would still do 1500 minus 1416. That would give me a change of 84. So the difference between my two numbers is 84. So I put 84 over, and my original number, because I started with 1500, is 1500. So now I have 84 over 1500, which needs to simplify. And again, for all my decimal lovers, that is 0.056. Now, 0.056, to make that a percent, I would move that decimal twice, and I would get 5.6%. Now in this case, that's a decrease. So I would say that to go from 1500 to 1416 is a 5.6% decrease. So for this example, let's do like what we did before, and I want you to pause and work along with me. So actually, if you remember my last example, I said from 48 to 60, and you were supposed to find the increase. Well, let's go backwards. Let's say we went from 60 to 48. Now, if you remember when we went from 48 to 60, that was a 25% increase. So does that mean that we know that 60 to 48 is a 25% decrease? Let's find out. So first thing you need to do is tell me what that formula was. That should be the amount of decrease over the amount original. And again, amount of decrease, that's still finding the difference between the two numbers. So I need to find the difference between 60 and 48. So go ahead and tell me what that is. You should get a difference of 12. Okay, 12 over, what was my original number? It was 60, so 12 over 60. Now I need to simplify that, and again, for all my decimal lovers, 12 over 60 becomes what? as a decimal, that would be 0.2, which means if we move the decimal twice, we get 20%, and that's a decrease. So the answer from 60 to 48 is a 20% decrease, which, let's ask that original question, is that the same as what it was when we increased? I hope you say no.